All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Los Angeles Chargers. Last night, they took down the Denver Broncos to get to 9-6, 34-27. Second half, specifically the fourth quarter, Justin Herbert finally looking like Justin Herbert. And I know that'll sound weird. The reasoning of that is just in the sense of Herbert really hasn't needed to do anything too crazy this entire season. But now that J.K. Dobbins is injured, teams are starting to, double team Ladd. They're starting to realize, oh, you know what? Maybe if we can mitigate Ladd McConkey and, J.K. Dobbins is out, so we'll stuff the run and, we'll kind of double team Ladd. We'll focus our game plan on Ladd. Then let's let guys like, let's let Vidal, let's let Palmer, let's let Smart. They don't have a tight end. Let's let Quentin Johnston. Let's let these guys beat us. And the thing we've been missing from Justin Herbert this season, because he hasn't really been asked to do this, is to be kind of the Superman he's been in the Los Angeles Chargers, or in his Chargers career, rather. Typically in a game like last night, the Chargers are on the losing end of the stick. Typically they're the ones who are losing these types of comeback games. And, you watch it, there were some crazy, was a fair catch kick. I mean, it just was crazy. Denver Broncos scored like 3 straight touchdowns. It was 21-13 at halftime. But if it wasn't for the penalty on the punt return, then Dicker wouldn't have been able to make the 57-yarder. They wouldn't have even been able to have the opportunity. You can sit here and nitpick it as much as you want, but honestly, both teams really, like Denver and the Chargers, their futures are so bright, and they're so bright for different reasons. But we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Chargers in tonight's video. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, along with at least one Chargers video every single week. And try and get this video to 200 likes, folks. That would mean the absolute world to me. So when I look at a team like the Los Angeles Chargers, obviously this is a team that's a year away. Obviously, right? There's no star-studded tight end. J.K. Dobbins has had a phenomenal season. He's currently still on the IR. But, J.K. got off to like this hot start. People thought it was going to fizzle out. People assumed he was going to get injured. The tight end room could use an upgrade, even though Will Dissly has done more than enough this season. Quentin Johnston, Joshua Palmer, were intrigued by these guys. Ladd McConkey's had a phenomenal rookie season. But the thought process is, give them a free agency, give them a draft class, give them a little bit of, their cap space, and let's see what Harbaugh and co can do, right? So this has always been kind of at least a 2 to 3 year plan. And so for me, the Los Angeles Chargers are 9-6. Both teams are now 9-6. And what was really cool from a non-Chargers fan and a non-Broncos fan as a Packers fan is just watching these two teams in the AFC West show down. And I don't want to hear anything from anybody. Whether it's a Chargers fan, a Broncos fan, a random NFL fan saying, well, why would I be afraid of the Los Angeles Chargers? They're 9-6. They should have lost that game. They just got obliterated by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've lost to the Kansas City Chiefs a couple of times. Name one big win. Name one good win against Los Angeles Chargers. And I just don't really understand when this became a theme in not only the NFL, but just in sports in general. I just truly don't understand it. And so, like I just said, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. And, man, this was like 14 years ago. My Green Bay Packers won the Super Bowl as the wild card team, the number 6 seed, back when it was only 6 teams in the wild card, or just 6 teams in the playoffs for each division, each conference. And, the way I was born and raised, being a 90s kid, I guess, the late 90s, but still is, you make the playoffs and anything can happen. That's the way I see it. And we're in this era where, the Broncos were up 21-13 in the first half, and they just looked like the better team. I don't know what that does for me. I just don't know what that does for me. When I look at a guy like Justin Herbert, who's now over 3,200 passing yards, he's at 18 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. He was literally Superman in the second half of that game. It was clear that he just did what he's done in the last couple of years, but he hasn't really needed to do this season. 23 of 31, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Even though J.K. Dobbins is injured against one of, if not the best scoring or just defenses in general in the Denver Broncos. They were able to run the football, 28 total carries for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns, both from Gus Edwards, who had a really good game, 14 carries, 68 yards, and 2 touchdowns, averaging 4.9 yards per carry. Ladd had a really solid game, 6 catches for 87 yards, and a bunch of other guys just really chipped in. Davis caught a touchdown. Haskins caught a touchdown. Everybody just did their job, specifically in the second half and especially in the fourth quarter. And when we look at it, like the Chargers defense, most people will not be able to name you a player on the, obviously not Chargers fans, but most NFL fans, and honestly, it's very applicable to the Denver Broncos as well, who obviously, I know it was a higher scoring game. Folks, it's a long season. The Broncos have a really good, talented defense. Same thing with the Los Angeles Chargers. You guys were the number 1 scoring defense in the National Football League 2 weeks ago before you gave up 40 points to Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so you could not name, most people, once again, not Chargers fans, not even good NFL fans, outside of Bosa, outside of Mack, maybe Fulton, Derwin James, obviously, you wouldn't know who these guys are. People don't know who these guys are, and that's perfectly fine because I didn't know who most of these guys were heading into the season because the Chargers sucked last year for a multitude of different reasons. The Chargers were not a good football team last season. What'd you win? 5 games, 6 games? I think it was 5. It was not a good year. And so Justin Herbert said after the game that the offense has been searching in the last couple of weeks, but really they've been searching for the entire season. And what I mean by that is, with Harbaugh, run-centric offense, the interior offensive line needs to be upgraded. They need a couple of more skill position guys. We haven't seen Justin Herbert need to be Superman. And when he needed to be Superman-esque in the second half of yesterday's football game, that's exactly what he did. So if you tell me, I get it, they have flaws, just like, by the way, every team in the National Football League and also every team in sports forever and always and current, right? Every team has flaws. I won't tell you the Los Angeles Chargers are going to make the Super Bowl. I won't tell you the Los Angeles Chargers are going to win the Super Bowl. But I will tell you they have a phenomenal head coach. Everybody believes in him. He believes in everybody. They have a really, really good, talented defense. They've got one of somehow now the most underrated, under-recognized quarterbacks in the National Football League. J.K. Dobbins will be back healthy sooner rather than later, but they still got an intriguing, you got Vidal, you got Edwards. It's good enough at the very minimum. Ladd McConkey's having a really good season. Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, their careers look intriguing. Like, I just believe in teams because, like, you got Herbert, a good coach, some skill players offensively and defensively. And once again, I'm not telling you the Chargers are going to win Super Bowl just because they took down Denver and now they ended the 2-game losing streak and they're back in the winning column. And you should, fear for your freaking life that the Chargers are going to win it all this season. When you zoom out long term, I do think you should be concerned with the Chargers, unless obviously you're a fan. But the point just is, man, they're 9-6. Both teams in yesterday's game are 9-6. They're both going to make the playoffs. And I'm just from a time and era where anything can happen. You're in the playoffs, anything, literally any single thing can happen. That's it for tonight's Rant and Ramble. I gotta go watch Notre Dame play a playoff game. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. And folks, give me your thoughts. How far do you think right now after 16 games can the Los Angeles Chargers go in the playoffs? Thank you for watching.